Oh, I don't know where Ben. I don't know where Ben's gone. Oh, oh dear. Oh,
hello.
we've both had some fun with the lighting today, haven't we?
Yes, for people listening to this podcast, it looks very spooky. You can't tell
I mean,
because you're
to be
listening.
fair, it looks like we've both had a power cut. That's what's happened.
Welcome to the power cut edition of the Security Hazard Show.
Yes. Now, I have something for the Gerry Anderson trick-or-treaters out there. I've got a costume idea.
All right, I'm listening.
I'm gonna try this costume on. And I'm gonna see if you can figure out, who it is, what I'm supposed to be.
All right.
I can't see a thing.
Okay, he's just
I can't.
He's
Right,
just
there we go.
taken a sheet and thrown it over his head, and now he's got a hat on.
Yes. Who am I, Ben?
Are you Pedro from Four Feather Falls?
Yes, I am indeed.
Chance of
What's
a
the
Ghost?
episode? Chance of a Ghost. Yeah, isn't this great?
Oh man,
Such a simple Anderson trick-or-treat costume that
It
you can
is.
go out and wear, knock on doors, and everyone will recognize exactly who you are straight away.
and how convenient for me! It's one of the 3 or 4 episodes of Four Feather Falls that I've actually seen.
Well, we do need to change that at some point.
Yes.
But yes, everyone, I can't see anything, so oh dear. Okay.
How are we going to start the show if you can't?
How am I
see?
going to start the show? I can't see.
We didn't plan this far ahead.
I didn't plan this. Oh, I'm gonna have to. Hello. Ooh. Spooky. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Well,
I managed to do a really quick costume change there. Welcome, everyone, to the Security Hazard Show, where the spookiest phenomena is how the hosts stay looking so handsome.
in the darkness,
Yes, and our audio listeners are just going to have to take my word for that.
your host is a man who could scare away trick-or-treaters for miles around, Mr. Jack Knoll of SecurityHazard.net.
Ooh, those voices are going to get annoying.
Okay, we'll stop.
Well, what can I say about my co-host today? He's a man who doesn't know the meaning of the word fear, but that's because he's part Lazoon and only has a limited vocabulary. It's Ben Wolf-Page, everyone.
I didn't understand the first half of that, but hello.
Well, today our show is all about fear, isn't it? It's all about scary
Yes.
things.
All the spookiest moments from across the Anderson universe. From
Yes,
the
indeed.
spooky space precinct to the fearful Fireball XL5 to the no, that's all I've got.
Terrifying Terrorhawks.
Oh, yeah, that
and
was
the
low-hanging fruit.
creepy Captain Scarlet. Everybody, today we are doing a countdown to disaster.
5, great disaster. 4,
This is the big one.
3,
There will be no survivors.
2, no! 1.
Scary, scary, scary Gerry Anderson moments. Ben, we had some trouble coming up with this list in that we had to figure out what was an intentionally scary moment and what was maybe an unintentionally scary moment.
Yeah. When I pulled together my list for this, I definitely went for things that traumatized me as a child. Not necessarily the things that are kind of objectively most scary. So there's certain episodes that are well remembered and well known for their horrifying moments or imagery. But I went for things that personally scared me. and I think you did
Yes.
took a similar approach. So
I certainly did. There will be things on this list that people are going to go, what? What are you talking about? But they're things that just lingered in the imaginations, like really
Yes.
strong images or something like that just stuck around. And some of them, yes, you would probably class as like pure horror, but other things are just fairly tame regular action. But what about some unintentionally scary moments? Are there any that stick in your mind that you want to put forward as like an honorable mention before we get into the list?
Ooh. Well, one that I brought up when we were first discussing the idea of doing a Halloween episode was the opening of Thunderbird 6, where Brains has a moment where he's telling everyone about his airship design, and they all burst into laughter.
An airship.
Oh man.
Oh.
There's these famous shots of these specially constructed laughing puppets. And they, they're very good. They have great details, and
they're
like the
very
puppets,
well made.
The puppets have fillings in their teeth and everything. It's very but it's a bit shocking because you don't expect it. There's no other moment in Super Mario Nation where that happens, and so it feels like a jump outside the language. And when I first saw that as a kid, that spooked me a little. That Thunderbird 6 moment where they're suddenly all laughing with their mouths open far wider than any Super Mario Nation puppet should be allowed.
With so many teeth, all the teeth on show. They're like laughing like chimps do, with the teeth pulled right out and their lips pulled. But it's and yes, the heads that roll around. I'm like, that's not how normal people laugh.
No, it's
particularly at something as mundane as aircraft design. I feel
it's
like that's
probably the
not very
most
likely.
No, it's the most Candy and Andy moment in Thunderbirds, where it suddenly enters the uncanny valley, not just with a tiptoe, but full force.
Yeah. Mark Simpson Wedge in the chat says they didn't bother me really, so clearly made of tougher stuff than we were. I can't say, I don't know if it scared me, but I was definitely like, this is a misstep.
I was a little frightened. That's the funny thing about fear and being scared. It's like it's a highly subjective thing, horror and fear and all of that, and particularly when you're talking about what scares a kid, it can be almost anything. It can be frightening when you're young and you don't have a framework for understanding the world yet. So even puppet teeth can be scary to some of us, but not all. Thankfully, I'm thankful that Mark could always enjoy Thunderbird 6 without having to have nightmares about it later.
Yeah, I tell you what though, actually, at a moment. It hasn't made my list, but I'm going to give it an honorable mention. There's going to be loads of honorable mentions. I feel like we can't really avoid it. But an honorable mention from Thunderbird 6 for me is actually, I think it is genuinely quite haunting, is when the bodies of the crew of Skyship 1 are being dropped into the ocean. That's pretty chilling. And I think it's something about seeing the limp, lifeless puppet bodies flung out there with the ominous music
through the air
is quite spooky. Yeah.
Well, it's also quite a hard switch because you're watching Skyship 1 fly along and the sunset in the background, and you're like, so Thunderbird 6 is so nice, and it's like there's so many scenic shots and Barry Gray's music is playing nicely, and then suddenly the music turns dark and a body falls from the model, and you're like,
yeah, exactly. So there's definitely some moments in Thunderbird 6 that feel kind of tonally interesting, shall we say? Yes. But shall we get into our list proper?
I would love to, Jack.
All right.
Shall I go first, or would you like to?
I'll go first because I ultimately want to end on your one because I feel like my top of my list. Yeah, spoilers for everyone ahead. The top of my list is a bit unconventional. Let's just say that. Whereas Ben's a bit more. I feel like a bit more of a reliable pick for a scary moment. So, so I'll go first, and I will nominate, and I've talked about it a few times. That's why it's kind of at the bottom of my list, because I feel like I've talked about it enough. It's the opening scene of Trapped in the Sky from Thunderbirds. It's the Hood in his temple, having a bit of having a go at Carano, having a good old shout. And his eyes light up, and what is wrong? Why don't you speak? That, when I was 4 or 5 years old, first seeing that, that completely terrified me. It's a cliche, but it is true. I did hide behind the sofa when that came on. It really did happen. And for a long time after that, I couldn't really stomach watching any episodes with the Hood in. And I don't think it was until, because we're talking about the early 2000s repeat run of Thunderbirds. It wasn't until they got to the episode Cry Wolf, which obviously again has the Hood in it, that I sort of was just about able to come back round to the idea of watching him. So yeah, he really spooked me, and it wasn't even the glowing eyes that really did it for me. It was just again, kind of the jump scare that you get when the facial expression on the head changes, when it's suddenly browning eyebrows. And obviously the Hood has quite prominent eyebrows when they upturn like that, and he gets his frowning head, and Ray Barrett starts shouting, like really shouting. That is pretty scary stuff, and it took me a while to get over that one.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the glowing eyes, because that's so for context, I came to Thunderbirds a little bit later. I was a bit older, and I don't ever remember being scared of the Hood. So for me, that wasn't a childhood trauma, in the way that it was for you. But when I hear people talk about it, the glowing eyes and that sound effect, that piercing, warbling sound that Barry Gray created, is usually what people mention. But you think that it's actually, that jump scare and the eyebrows and the voice that really
it was more the anger and the intensity behind the performance that I think really threw me off. I remember that. I remember that being and it's only a split second apart, but it's definitely one shot over the other that terrifies me. And I know that because anytime the Hood would show up in subsequent episodes before his eyes started glowing, I would check out. And just be like, no, not watching this one. It was terrible because we only had, growing up, I only had so many episodes on VHS. And I remember distinctly, actually, at my grandmother's house, she had like one Thunderbirds VHS tape that we would watch. And it was, oh gosh, this is going to test me. Volume 5 of the Channel 5 tapes, which was Day of Disaster and Edge of Impact. So
that's so random. Why one volume?
I don't know. I mean, we would tend to pick these things up from car boot sales where things did tend to be a little bit random. But yeah, it was always like, okay, I'll watch Day of Disaster, but not going beyond that, because particularly Edge of Impact, even an extra stage of creepy is you get the Hood's eyes lighting up when he's happy. He just has these moments of joy when he sees the treasure chest opening up and things like that. And he gets happy, so his eyes light up. That's a different level of creepy. That's not like getting upset and angry and scary. That's like unsettling stuff. So,
deeply unsettling stuff. I agree.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Really. And I suppose just to add a little bit of extra Hood horror, I would also add to that the scene in Thunderbirds I'll Go, the first feature film, where he gets his foot crushed in the mechanism
That's
of
a pretty
Zero
scary
X, and you see
body
his
horror
bloody foot.
Yeah, it's a real
Awful.
body horror moment.
And
Those
he's
kind
got-
of things are scarier anyway because that's like stuff that could actually happen. You know, it's not a fantasy
yeah.
horror like zombies. There's no such thing as zombies, but like people definitely can get their feet crushed, and that's horrifying.
And they give it again. He gets a specially sculpted face of sheer pain. So, yeah. And I mean, obviously, people are going to counter that by saying, oh, the Hood was a silly, goofy pantomime villain.
Right. See, I wanted to ask about that because, of course, in Edge of Impact, he's very scary and he does all his business, killing pilots and knocking down towers. But at the end, he's sort of like, carelessly drives off the edge of a road.
With a I believe there's a boing sound effect.
There's some cartoon sound effects. There's some bubbling, as the radio sinks into the water.
Radio. Yeah.
So there's also like a definite silly side to the Hood.
Yeah.
Did that not help to counteract some of your fear?
I wouldn't have made it that far. I wouldn't have gotten that
right.
far. I wouldn't have made it to the end of Edge of Impact for a little while. Yeah, I'd be done as soon as he turned up pretty much in the opening scene, I think. And his eyes start glowing in that and stuff. So, yeah.
And your brothers or your family weren't like, they didn't force you to go through with it. They were like, well, he doesn't want to watch it. So that's the end of that.
I think, they must have done because obviously I stuck with it. And I did eventually see those episodes. But it was always sort of like a little bit at a time, I think. I would get sort of a little bit of the way into like something like Edge of Impact. I would get a little bit of the way into it and then go, no, this is unsettling. I don't like it.
Going a little bit deeper into the pool.
Yeah, and eventually I would get there and be like, okay, I'm fine. So then, by the time Cry Wolf came on TV, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And Cry Wolf has a lot of scary stuff in it as well. Open the door, Williams. Like I think that's how I knew I was cured, was because I made it through that.
You made it through that one.
Scene.
Yeah, when he knocks down the door and says Williams, and he turns around real slow, nice and creepy. Yeah.
It's
nice and creepy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you finally made it through because I can't imagine Security Hazard with all the Hood bits skipped over. It just wouldn't work as a blog.
It wouldn't work. No, I have had to accept that I do have to watch all of Thunderbirds now as a 30-year-old man. I have managed to get over it. I'm pleased to say.
Thank you for your sacrifice watching all that so that we can enjoy your reviews.
I know. Well, thank you. Right. Ben, come on. What's your scary moment to add to the list?
Well, I picked a moment from one of the scariest shows, UFO. So UFO has lots of moments we could talk about. Honorable mention to the opening sequence of Identified. Watching Identified for the first time. I think the first live action show that I saw.
Right.
Getting it from the library, putting it on, and my mom was watching it with me just to make sure it was okay. And, of course, in the opening moments of UFO, uncut on the DVD, someone gets gunned down by a machine gun.
Yeah.
Someone else gets, it ends with her screaming and the camera's zooming in on her face. Yes. We don't see the unspeakable horror that's been chasing her. It's just a really suspenseful moment. But that's not the moment that I picked as my UFO moment overall. Right. I picked an episode called Survival.
Oh, yes.
Which involves Foster being stranded on the surface of the moon, and he makes friends with an alien.
Right.
And I'm going to give away a huge twist. So if you haven't seen Survival, skip ahead a few minutes. But at the end of Survival, Foster has made friends with this alien, and his communication system is out in his spacesuit, and he gets found, and they don't find him together with the alien; they find them separately. And Foster is then trying to communicate that there's an alien and he's a friend, but he can't in time, and they shoot the alien.
Yeah.
That sort of thing is just it's a twist worthy of the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror today. Just horrifying moment of like, no, this person is a friend and an ally, and the whole war could have been, solved or prevented.
I see.
If only they had, extended an olive branch to this alien instead of shooting on sight. So that kind of horror, that like existential horror, really upset me as a kid watching that. So yeah.
Now remind me, is that a particularly violent moment? Was it the actual shooting itself that was the problem, or is it more the consequences of it that
No, it's not it's just the consequences and the concept of it that upset me. The actual, like, there's nothing much on screen. I don't think you even see him getting shot on screen.
Right.
So there's certainly no blood. But it just, psychologically, I think too, like growing up in a rural area and living on a farm for a little while when I was a kid, I was familiar with kind of, the horror of accidental injury or death.
Oh, I see. Right.
Seeing things like I saw a dog get run over when I was a child.
Oh,
so
no.
All these
I
sort
thought
of
you were
things.
going to say you were familiar with aliens coming to visit.
No, that's I'm not allowed to talk about that on the air.
Oh, no, of course, no. CIA had a good word with you before any of that business took off.
But yeah, that's like a real life fear, is like, someone being killed by accident, or sort of callous violence,
right,
going awry, I guess.
Okay.
It's just like truly disturbing to
The
me.
fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being
Perhaps.
unable to communicate. I think that's a very interesting bit of some psychoanalysis that could go on there. Now that you are the host of a podcast, I think
giving me
that you feel like you need to be heard.
Perhaps,
Interesting.
perhaps.
Interesting. Is your worst fear that I will just stop listening to you at some point? Has been known to happen. My attention span is not amazing.
But yeah, I'm curious if anyone else has ever picked that as like a scary moment, because it really, really upset me at the time.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's surprising because, it's not like a visceral, like really like horrific moment. It's not like scary, but as you say, the consequences of it are quite unsettling, and particularly because it's quite a slow build to that moment, isn't it? Like you have a lot of tension and a lot of silent scenes where Foster and the alien are sort of trying to non-verbally understand each other and things like that. So it is something that gets inside your brain a little bit.
If it was the Thunderbirds episode, it would be as if they were like, they're working to pull the Sidewinder out of the pit, and at the last moment someone comes along and just cuts the cord. It just comes along and everything, it falls back into the pit and explodes in a huge fireball, and everyone's dead, and you're just like, so much work. They did so much work to like overcome their own fear and build that friendship, and then it's all wiped out in a second in a careless accident. Really,
exactly.
It's heartbreaking and sad and horrifying.
And particularly because in UFO we learn so little about the aliens. I mean, we don't even know who they are or where they come from or anything like that. So the fact, I suppose, part of the pain comes from the fact that you're just starting to maybe understand them and maybe learn a little bit more, and it draws you in that way. And, as you say, you have to kind of work past the scariness of just the face itself of the aliens with the, the contact lenses and the green and everything else. It's, it's quite unsettling in the first place. And then, it kind of does that switch on you at the last minute. It's it's an interesting moment. It's not one I would have thought of, but it's an interesting way of looking at it for sure. Absolutely. I also, for my next pick, have a UFO moment, and it's also sort of tied in with the alien thing, but coming at it from a bit of a different perspective. It's the UFO episode Ordeal, which we we have to skip over certain aspects of it that do ruin it slightly. It's unfortunate to say, but essentially what happens is my words, Colonel Foster gets abducted by the aliens and gets forced into a spacesuit which fills up with liquid, and that on its own is a pretty horrifying visual when Foster is watching the liquid fill up inside the helmet, and that's really well played by Mike Billington. He does that thing of he darts his eyes from side to side as he's watching this liquid, and of course, behind the scenes how that shot was actually achieved. Of course, the helmet wasn't really filling up with liquid, just a small part of it would have been. But I don't know, it really sells it. I think it really works. It does actually feel like, okay, this guy is drowning right now. So that works. But I think the thing that's probably scariest about that is the operation towards the end when they're trying, he's back in Moonbase, and Dr. Jackson calls in remotely to instruct Lieutenant Ellis on how to remove the helmet, with a very serious risk of Foster not drowning, but the opposite of drowning, because they have to convert his breathing back from liquid to air, and just all of that. It's the medical horror of it, I suppose, which UFO likes to play with quite a lot. Just the idea that being in an operating theater type situation and being laying prone and sort of subject to what other people are going to do to you is quite scary in itself. But then, of course, the actual shot when the helmet comes off and Foster spits out all this green liquid everywhere, and all over the place, and he starts scrambling around, and all these people suddenly pile on top of him to try and hold him down and stop him from struggling and all that stuff. It's pretty horrific and horrendous stuff, and again, it has this slow build up, and of course, part of what adds to the unsettling nature of it for me is also the fact that Dr. Jackson is there. And Vladek Shabel, with the best will in the world, he plays on it. He is a kind of scary guy.
Yes, he leans heavily into that sort of frightening persona. He would have been great. I'm not sure if he ever did one, but he would have been great in the Hammer horror movies alongside like Peter Cushing and
of course
Christopher Lee. I mean, he just has that kind of brooding presence that's just great for a scary story.
The eyes, of course, are scary, but the voice as well, and particularly in that scene because he's trying to be very calm. Because the idea is they want to maintain calm so that Foster doesn't end up panicking and drowning. So he's speaking in this very low, quiet voice, and because it's being done remotely, he's looking directly down the camera. Again, with those eyes looming, and he's on the screen, it's almost like could we have gotten one of the friendlier shadow doctors to do this bit? Really, I feel like everyone would be a little bit less nervous if it wasn't Jackson.
No, it's got to be
That's
Jackson.
something
Got to
to
be
consider.
Jackson.
Yeah, of course. So I love that. Of course, it is slightly ruined by the fact that it didn't really happen and it was all a dream.
Yeah, that's a thing that ruins Attack on Cloud Base for me as well. It's like, I would really like to know how that story would have ended, but it just kind of abruptly stops, and it's like, it's a dream.
Yes,
disappointing. But if you have any kind of fear of water, or of drowning, or of losing your breath, that's a scary episode for sure. Excellent.
Pick. Yeah, it is. I love it. I think Ordeal is great fun up until the point when it cuts off. So
agreed.
Worth
lots of episodes of UFO that play with fear of insanity. I mean, episodes where Mindbender, the long sleeve to
Straker, it's a good one.
kill Straker, any of those kind of things where it's like you're not sure what's real anymore.
Exactly.
And it gets incredibly spooky.
Yeah. Reflections in the water. That damn dome.
Damn dome.
We did a whole episode reviewing that one. I can't say, actually, thinking about it, that it was that scary. I tell you what, one more UFO episode that should have probably made our list but didn't. Subsmash.
Yes. Oh yes. That's
with Barry.
If you're at all
Lieutenant Barry
claustrophobic,
trapped in the missile tube. Yeah, that's pretty.
Scary.
And she's screaming, and Straker's having his own claustrophobia issues, and it's just.
It gets a nope. It gets a nope from me, Jack.
It's a real masterpiece, but
that's a nope.
Yeah,
I'm not joining Shadow for that reason. I don't want
exactly. Well, I think the only reason that one didn't make the list was because there are so many moments actually in that one.
Yeah, it's just too scary to even. Yeah, it would blow the entire rest of our lists out of the water if we included that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, what did you pick next then?
Let's see. After that, I picked. Ooh, this is a fun one. I picked Space Precinct, Predator and Prey.
Oh boy!
And there's a villain in that story called Emil Kamada, played by someone called Richard James, a truly terrifying person. No, I'm just kidding. He's actually very nice.
He's the loveliest person in the world. He's very nice. But
in real life,
by doing so, he has that inner capability to.
However,
turn.
Yes. In the really elaborately created makeup, they made him into a sort of space vampire character.
Yeah.
Deeply unsettled me. I think that was the first episode of Space Precinct I maybe ever saw. Had no idea what I was in for putting it on. Just kind of like, okay, I was maybe 10 years old. Woo! Scared the crap out of me. That Kamada character, he can kill you, but he also can live inside of you. So he just kind of goes and gets sucked inside of someone. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that was
yeah. Well, that opening scene where he's shifting around in the mirrors of that dressing room, and he's very. They do a very good job of conveying that he's there, but not quite there, and setting up that mystery of who he is exactly. It's
very demonic.
Really well done. Yeah,
it's very demonic and supernatural in the way he kind of flits around. It turns out it's just a quirk of his alien species, so he's not an actual supernatural figure, but he does have that kind of quality where he feels very much it feels like it's right out of a classic sci-fi horror type story, something like Life Force or the Buck Rogers episode Space Vampires. You may not have seen.
No, I
think it's just called Space Vampire. Classic sci-fi, scary sci-fi, spooky sci-fi.
Yeah.
With this little slice of camp.
Yes, I mean there is a little bit of camp in there as well. I'm sorry to say, whenever he's running and he lets his cape billow out behind him, it's just a little bit oh, you're really going for it. And I like that. I mean, I like this too. I'm in the depths of reviewing Space Precinct at the moment, and I have to say, any moment where they just add a flourish to it that, you kind of go, I'll allow you that. I can let you
go on.
It is nice and scary. There is that also that scene with Sally Brogan where he turns up in the bedroom, but he has a mask. He has a mask over his mask, if that makes sense. That's quite unsettling as well.
It's a very successful makeup effect, and the contact lenses, the yellow eyes that he has.
Well, particularly I love the story. By Richard James's book Space Precinct Unmasked, because goodness me, has that been a very valuable resource for me in reviewing all of Space Precinct for the blog. But in that book, he tells the story of how he, out of costume, just out of work, just on a London tube train, Richard decided, I'm going to put my contact lenses in on the tube, and I'm going to look up. I'm going to be reading a newspaper and look up a child. And yeah, he scared that child.
I would never have been the same again. I would have been completely ruined for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's funny how, simple things like some contact lenses, as soon as you
Make a
start
big
altering
difference.
people's eyes, it makes a big, big difference. So, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a pretty good nomination. I mean, Space Precinct has so many scary moments, and that was kind of that's the thing that some people may find off-putting about it. I kind of haven't really made up my mind yet on it, but it's
it depends on how
tries
old
to
you
scare
are,
you.
too.
Yes, it
I
does.
think
Yeah.
a lot of people come to Space Precinct later because if they saw it on first run, they were children when the Super Mario Nation shows went out, so they were adults by the time Space Precinct came around, and it doesn't hit the same way. I think you found when you watched Predator and Prey, it wasn't as scary for you as an adult as it was for me as a 10-year-old child watching it, for the first time. So, it just depends on how you first encounter it. But I think, for that age, for me at that age, it was the perfect balance of scary and sci-fi.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed watching that. And I still get a hint of nostalgia whenever I see Richard James with his contacts in.
Does he do that for you? Does he put the contacts in just for you?
I haven't asked him. I've been a little frightened to ask.
Okay. Well, don't.
You think he still has them?
Oh, I wouldn't have thought
No, he saved a lot from that show. He saved a few souvenirs, so
yeah, maybe. I wouldn't put it past him, but I also would have thought that contact lenses that you wore 30 years ago, maybe you don't want to put it back in. But yeah, no, lovely pick, and I'm glad that Space Precinct got a little bit of a mention there. Yeah. My next pick is something that I would have seen when it was first broadcast.
Really?
Because it was on the Ministry of Mayhem. We are, of course, talking about New Captain Scarlet. And specifically, I'm gone for the episode Touch of the Reaper, which essentially what it boils down to is the Mysterons manage to kind of take control of a virus. And basically, if a Mysteron agent with this virus touches you, it makes your skin go all red and crinkly, which doesn't sound that scary, but the visual is horrific. They did not pull any punches there, and clearly, when they were making you Captain Scarlet, they certainly were not thinking that this is going to go out at about 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning kids show. Because that was certainly not the intention, and it makes it even more baffling that the decision was taken to broadcast it in that particular slot. So it's pretty horrendous because this horrible sort of red purpley thing like works its way up a victim's blood vessels, and I think it starts to get into their eyes as well. And of course, it's transmitted by touch, so someone will always have their hand pressed to their face, which is just not a nice way to be attacked anyway. Then this horrible thing takes over their skin. And then what's really horrific is, of course, Captain Scarlet being indestructible, as we all know, he does get touched, but he manages to kind of work through it like a champ, which means that for the sort of concluding part of the episode, he still has the horrible red skin, but he's able to just sort of walk around as normal. It's a bit more kind of body horror stuff. But yeah, for me, that works really well. And mostly for me, it sort of stands out as like an indicator that, New Captain Scarlet was not intended to be shown as a Saturday morning kids cartoon. That's just not it at all.
It's not the way it's going. I'm glad you brought that into the conversation, though, because there's a lot of New Captain Scarlet is really in many ways much scarier than the original. I mean, there's
Yeah.
just a lot of episodes that are pretty scary for a little kid, I would think. You know, things like oh man, even just like when I was a kid, even the in the pilot where at the end of part 1 where they put a guy through an automobile crusher. Stuff like that is quite visceral compared to the original series, where you see things like, you know, there's still scary stuff happening, but I think perhaps the CGI or maybe the music, Crispin Morel's music, is much darker.
Yes, there's that. But yeah, I mean, the CG does definitely, gives it a touch of added realism that you obviously couldn't get with the puppets. It means that the people feel just a little bit more like real people. I think that's part of it. They were definitely pushing the envelope to sort of say, look, we couldn't do this with puppets, but we can, crush real people in a car crusher and not have a problem. So there's definitely a little bit of that. Also, just the nature of the way that the Mysterons possess people is a bit, with the green, again, we're coming back to glowing eyes, the green eyes that glow on the Mysteron agents in New Captain Scarlet is quite scary as well. I have a little bit of trivia in that, Touch of the Reaper was intended, I think, to be produced much sooner in the production order of the series, but they had to hold it back because they couldn't figure out how to do the skin thing convincingly. So that's just a little bit of trivia. And also, of course, there was the episode of New Captain Scarlet that was never made. Do you know about this?
Yes, but refresh my memory.
So the last episode of New Captain Scarlet that was produced was Grey Skulls, but that was a replacement for a script called House of Dolls, which would have seen Scarlet, his sister, and her 8-year-old son trapped in the house of an eccentric toy maker during a thunderstorm. That's what my episode guide says about that. Basically at the 11th hour, it was decided too scary. Too scary.
Wow.
Because it would have featured the toy maker's collection of toys coming to life, and Scarlet and his family are menaced by a killer clown puppet. In robots, toy soldiers, a life-size dragon doll, and even an evil teddy bear.
That sounds like the perfect Halloween viewing.
It would have been. It really would have been. And it's a shame that I think it's a shame. It would have been nice to see that one, I think. Yeah. I mean, I like Grey Skulls. I do think that's a good episode, a perfectly good replacement. But it's interesting that it was decided that premise was too scary. Considering all the other stuff that goes on in New Captain Scarlet, they decided that was going too far. But I can't remember if this is still on YouTube or not. It might be. But at a Fanderson convention, they did a live reading of the House of Dolls script with Shane Rimmer playing the part of the toy maker, I believe.
Wow.
So if you can find that, it's worth seeking out because it's good fun.
Yeah, that's great. I've never seen that. That's cool.
Yeah. I remember it being on YouTube ages ago. It may not still be there, but definitely worth a look if you can find that
floating around somewhere. Yeah, that's New Captain Scarlet, a scary show, could have been even scarier. Hopefully one day that script is still floating around and someone can do something with it so that we can see that story.
Even like an audio adaptation or something would probably still work. I think that would still have a lot of kind of scary potential to it. So I don't know.
Be nice to see.
Someone make it happen. So there's New Captain Scarlet. What have you got as your next pick, Ben?
Gotta check the list. So many scary moments.
Oh, by the way, Simpsons Clips 24 says that video is still on YouTube, so you can.
Thanks very much. Simpsons
go and watch that as soon as we finish the podcast. You can go and listen to a whole extra episode of New Captain Scarlet that you weren't aware of.
This is another spoilery moment
Okay.
from the end of an episode. It's from Space 1999, Year 1, an episode called Earthbound. And
Oh,
those of you
boy.
who've seen Earthbound know exactly the moment that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's a character in the early episodes of Space 1999 called Commissioner Simmons. He was a representative of the organization that Moonbase Alpha is a part of. He flies up towards the end of Breakaway to kind of assess the situation and gets stuck there when the moon gets blasted out of Earth orbit.
Yes.
Simmons is sort of a lame duck in Earthbound. He's sort of sitting around trying to figure out what to do with himself. He doesn't fit in with life on Alpha.
No.
Some aliens arrive. There's some miscommunication between them, but eventually it becomes clear that the aliens are friendly. They have the ability to travel across vast distances of space through suspended animation. So they say they can they have an extra chamber as a result of some things that happen in the episode. And they want to adapt that chamber for a human being so that they can take a human being back to Earth. And Simmons naturally wants to take the spot.
Yeah.
Goes a bit power mad, forces himself into that spot, even though Koenig says he's going to select by computer which person should be, is most likely.
That's only fair.
Most necessary. So ChatGPT gets to pick who goes home to Earth. Yes, but Simmons won't have that. He forces himself in at gunpoint. The system doesn't have time to adapt him to the chamber, and sadly, he wakes up in a glass sarcophagus, trapped forever, unable to get out, waking up only 5 minutes after leaving Moonbase Alpha. 75 years or something like that from Earth, if memory serves. No food, no water, trapped in a little glass case. Yeah, and actor Roy Dotrice does an incredible job of pretending that the flimsy glass set is actually constricting him. It's very, very claustrophobic. And I think I've told this story before on the show, but when I first watched Space 1999, I watched it on a portable DVD player with a 2.5-inch screen. It was very small.
Oh, scary. All those pixels.
Tiny pixels. And I, in order to maximize my viewing experience, I would watch in the linen closet at the top of the stairs. So it was a very tiny space, even for a child. And I would wedge myself in there with my tiny screen, and I'd watch Space 1999 with the screen far too close to my face and pretend I was in a movie theater, but I was in the linen closet. So I was quite scrunched up watching that story. And then it ends, and I came bursting out of that linen closet. And that may have been the last time I ever watched the Space 1999 story in the linen closet, because that was the most terrifying way to watch
not
story.
ideal. No, not at all.
Very scary, permanently traumatizing. Definitely will not be. If they invent a means of cryogenic sleep, I will not be volunteering for the study. I will not be going to Mars in cryogenic sleep, because way too freaked out by Space 1999 to ever do that.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's a fantastic moment, and it's a reason why people remember it so vividly. And it partly is, that performance is he, as you say, he goes as far as he possibly can with the screaming and the banging and stuff without actually breaking the set,
without actually escaping from his tomb.
Yeah, without actually escaping. And it's a shame they couldn't have made it a little bit more rigid for the purposes of that. But no, I think it's still very, very, very effective.
It is effective.
And just again, you know what, Ben? It's coming back round to this thing of fear of not being heard.
Perhaps. I mean, he is heard, but he's just not able. They're not able to save him. There's also
yes. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, the fact that they know that the Alphans know that that's what's happened to him.
Yeah, he's got his comlock
Gosh.
with him, and he calls them on the radio and says, "Hello, Earth. Hello, Earth." But it's not Earth. It's still the moon.
Oh yes, I'd forgotten about that. Oh, I need to watch
Horrifying.
that again.
And the final kicker is that the computer selected him anyway. So if he had waited, he would have gone home, and they would have had time to adapt the system, and he would have lived. But took matters into his own hands.
There
Tragically.
you go. Yeah, that is really that is so effective from every angle. That works so well. Yeah, no, that's an excellent pick. I very good job choosing that one. I have nothing I can add to it because it is so horrifying, really. The only thing I can add is that there is a slight error during that scene, which is that two of the aliens in the background do wake up and react to someone screaming.
I think also you can see Christopher Lee's wig has fallen off a little bit. You can see his natural hair underneath. So there's, if you watch it as an adult, in HD, not on a 2.5-inch screen in a linen closet, you'll see some of the holes in it. You sort of have to suspend your disbelief and go with it.
I wouldn't have even said it's that noticeable, really. I think unless you were looking for it, and sorry that we've now ruined that for everyone else by mentioning it. But if you didn't know it was there, then I don't think you would really notice. And of course, we're talking about horror. Of course, Christopher Lee is in that particular episode, so that is a little bit of an extra tie to it.
Living a legend of horror, absolutely.
Yeah. So that just adds an extra layer to it as well. Lovely pick, very very good indeed.
What have you got?
Now, I was originally going to go for another Space 1999 moment in this slot, but I realized there was someone quite important that had been left off this list when I originally put it together. So I thought, well, Ben's got Space 1999 pretty well covered there, so I'm going to switch over to talking about Captain Scarlet, and particularly a certain Mysteron agent who caused a lot of terror and a lot of fear for children watching. It's, of course, Captain Black. And of course, we're talking about the original, Super Mario Nation TV series. I feel like Black in New Captain Scarlet is much more human in the way he comes across, so it's a bit less scary.
I agree with that,
Yeah, whereas the puppet version, who is currently sat to my side here.
Was that a screen-used original? Wow.
No. No. Oh, I wish it was.
Oh.
No,
sorry.
It's not. He's a scary guy. From the moment we first see that transformation on Mars, when one moment he's human and then you cut away and the next he's not, and that horrible face has changed into something much darker and paler and more dead, basically. Do you ever buy into the idea that Captain Black is like a walking, kind of like a zombie?
I don't know, because if he is, then so is Captain Scarlet, theoretically.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I always get the sense that something different happened to Captain Black, because there's no moment where like the Mysterons kill him. Really, it's not like they kill him and reconstruct him. He just changes. So there's something different there, which adds to the scariness of it, because it's like, well, he's kind of like a regular Mysteron agent, but he's not. So there is that. I mean, there are all so many moments that could be called out as like scary, spooky Captain Black moments. I have gone for the episode Fire at Rig 15, and specifically the scene where he comes into Jason Smith's truck, and for a moment he can't be seen, and then he says, "Turn out the light and you will see me." And Jason does so. The lights turn off, but suddenly Captain Black's face lights up by itself. And okay, it's a little bit silly, really, that's what happened. But the reason why I think it is chilling and it is scary is because it defies explanation. It's never brought up again as something that happens. It's never even really brought up whether that's a misdrawn power or what's going on there.
Yeah, why?
It's completely unexplained. It doesn't make any sense, really. It's
Why
just
does Captain Black glow in the dark?
exactly. I think there's something unsettling about that, and so many misdrawn powers in the series. We've mentioned before how often misdrawn powers get introduced into the series purely for the purposes of getting to the end of the episode and tying up the plot neatly. And they're never explained again. They don't always show up again. It's not consistent across the series. But there's something about this, because it is a one-off and doesn't really happen again, that I think works. And it is a very striking moment. And I can imagine it probably did scare quite a lot of kids when they first saw it, because just that image of his horrible pale face lit up like that is pretty horrendous, combined with the voice and everything else. That would be my pick, but I'm sure lots of people have their own Captain Black moments that
see, I would have gone with some of his kills where he he hunts down and murders people in various ways to turn them into Mistron agents.
Yes.
Or just to get them out of the way sometimes. So,
but some of them are so elaborate. I felt like the face lighting up was just such a simple kind of.
It's simpler. And just
it's like the director just going, let's just give them a bit of a scare that they're not expecting. Because obviously, when Captain Black is killing someone, you know that that's what he's doing. But you're not expecting his face to suddenly light up like that. So I think that's part of it for me. But yes, I agree. Definitely. I mean, some of the kills are pretty grisly and horrific. I mean, the one that stands out is in Manhunt, is it? Where he's with the garage attendant and the guy's working on the car and he lifts the car lift up into the ceiling until the man is squashed.
Dreadful.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, like, why didn't the man jump rather than be squished to death? But, I mean, it's such a classic. All of the Captain Black stuff is like classic horror movie kind of material. It really
is. Yeah.
In the sense that it's like, there's a certain kind of like defiance of logic in horror, in scary films, where it's like, why don't they just leave the haunted house? Because then the story would be over. So you sort of have to like suspend your disbelief a little bit. And it's also that's especially true for Captain Black. The outcome. That the Mistrons are going to win this certain battle, because they always get their initial agent, their Dr. Dr. Tiempo, or whoever it is. They're always going to get that person.
Right.
But it's the inevitability and watching it play out. That's like a trope. That's why there's so many Friday the 13th movies, so many Halloween movies, because you want to see how he comes back this time and how he catches his victims. Yes. And it's
very creative stuff.
Captain Black is in the same sort of genre where he's like, what he's there for and what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. You're just on the edge of your seat waiting for it to happen. And that's the suspense part of it.
Yeah. Another creative kill I have to call out I think it's the episode Treble Cross, when he has the specially adapted truck with the headlights that comes swinging out. And it's a bit silly, obviously. But I remember as a kid, when you'd be driving at night and stuff like that, thinking, someone could do that. You can't see who's coming the other side of the road.
No.
Someone could do that. And you could have a nasty accident that way. So there was an element of that was like, that could really happen.
He's out there patrolling the highways.
Yes.
Patrolling the highways and operating the service stations. Captain Black, turn out the light and you will see me.
Exact. Oh no. Well, you've kind of done the opposite there. There he is. Oh, scary. Yeah.
Ah!
Very good.
For my next pick,
Yeah.
I've done. It's not really a specific moment. It's an entire episode. It's called
Okay.
Force of Life. I've talked about it before. It's from Space 1999, Year One again.
Mhm.
I had to do two because I saw this around the same time I saw Predator and Prey.
Mhm.
It's another deeply unsettling childhood memory of
Yes.
sitting down to watch this, having no idea what I was in for. And I talked about this previously in our I think it was top 5 Space 1999 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I covered this, and I think I may have put it in the number 1 spot, possibly. You'll have to go back and listen to the
I
episode.
certainly know it's a favorite of yours, so it's interesting.
I really
that
do
it's
like
also
it.
the scariest thing you could think of.
Well, it's just that he's not a main character. He's a there's a victim of an alien power who's just sort of minding his own business in like a lower deck of Alpha, and he's singled out for some unknown reason by this alien power for possession, and horrible things happen.
Yes.
Yes, and he's eventually like singed beyond recognition and turns
Right.
into a sort of husk. Yeah, very, very scary.
Glowing eyes.
Glowing eyes again.
Glowing eyes. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's what we've
Yeah, that's-
uncovered on this episode. Glowing eyes.
Just don't make the eyes glow. We don't like it.
I wonder if Gerry Anderson had like a recurring dream about glowing eyes.
Ooh, maybe.
And that's why it was
Maybe.
particularly unsettling to him personally. And he gets a script with glowing eyes in it, and he's like, "Yep, that's really scary. We'll do that." That's the thing that scares me the most, the glowing eyes.
I guess so. Yeah.
For me, it's the randomness of it. The kind of like he didn't do anything wrong. He's not being punished for some, sin. He's just sort of like selected, and then has to go through this nightmare of watching everything disintegrate, and that's truly horrifying. Not just in like the the spooky Halloween kind of way of like, which it has that too with the glowing eyes, but also in a kind of like deeper, more psychological horror way.
Exactly.
It traumatized me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you, Space 1999,
Of
for
course.
ruining my life forever.
I mean, so many things about there are so many obviously scary moments about Space 1999, and part of it is the fact that by its nature, everyone is trapped with the menace, whatever menace it is that week. They're always stuck there on the moon. There's no way out. They literally can't just walk outside or anything like that.
No,
because
there's
they're on
nowhere
the
to
moon.
go.
Yeah, so that as a kind of built-in mechanic for any plot is always going to be effective. And I don't know, on the moon. Well, it makes me think about, we once again have kind of neglected year 2 of Space 1999, which, tried to, well,
there's
that
some
was
moments.
definitely that was definitely aiming less towards the psychological horror and more towards here's a monster. I can't necessarily think of too many that
there's
really stand out to me.
There's one, I think it's called, and the problem with year 2 is I get the titles mixed up. I want to say it's Seed of Destruction, where Commander Koenig has a duplicate made of him.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good one. That one is great. Yeah.
That one has a bit of a psychological component where he's back, but he's not himself. And he's behaving oddly and treating everyone strange, and he won't let anyone touch him because if they touch him, he's ice cold. These sort of things. So you get some of that in year 2, but year 1, I mean, what was the episode that you almost put on there? Sort of an honorable mention.
The one I almost went for was Death's Other Dominion, which again we talked about it on our top 5 episodes list, and it's specifically, of course, that moment at the end when Brian Blessed's character gets, his corpse gets hideously. It's just hideous. It's just horrible. It's rotting and it's there, and Helena's screaming at it, and that's pretty horrendous. I thought it kind of went without saying, really, that was scary.
Yeah.
The rest of the episode, I mean, it does have some scary stuff, but I mean, that's the kind of main selling point. That's why I left it off the list.
Definitely.
Going back to year 2, though, one thing that I do remember being quite unsettled by when I first saw it, because I was still quite young when I first saw it, was the metamorph. And specifically, and this is very specific to me, it's the moment when Maya turns into like a bird of prey and is flapping around. And Bribler's like, hold her down, Koenig! But for me, that was just because when I was young, I had quite a fear of large birds.
Yeah. No. Well,
so yes, the idea
you don't want to tangle
giant...
with a large bird of prey. They're quite scary in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very...
So the idea of having one flying around out of control, one that specifically Maya was like trying to get them, trying to do something that, not pleasant for me. So yes, year 2 does have its moments.
It does have its moments.
That's for sure.
The whole metamorph concept. I mean, Maya has a lot of horrific moments. There's a moment, I think she's turned into a bird again in this situation, but in the Rules of Luton, not a shining episode in general, but has its moments. Where she's caught under a basket and she can't transform.
Yeah,
she has to transform by a certain time, and she's trapped under this basket, and she could die if she transforms, and she'll be forced to eventually. So he's got her like sort of pinned down. That's a frightening concept. Although execution. Year 2, that's the problem. It's like
it's the execution. Exactly.
Even when there's a good idea, it's sort of spoiled by, unsteady execution.
And it's always going to be cancelled out by the extra bit of humor and warmth that they've tried to inject into it. Nothing is allowed to be. You could never end an episode in the same way that you end something like Earthbound
or Force of Life.
Yeah. Nothing's allowed to end on a lingering kind of horror note. So even if there are those scary moments, but just not.
Yeah, they all get drowned in Tony's homemade beer.
Exactly. Exactly that. Oh, goodness me. Well,
have we come to your number 1 pick?
My number 1, which is another one that I feel like is kind of personal to me and a little bit odd. But it's in the center of quite a scary episode in general. So I feel like I could get away with it, but it's maybe not the thing about it that most people would find scary. I have chosen...
Tell us your episode.
My deepest, darkest fear. It's the Stingray episode, The Ghost of the Sea.
Ooh.
And it's the moment when the guy gets trapped in a giant clam.
Wait, a giant clam? Wait a minute. What happened again? Tell me about this. What happened?
This is something that's only really gotten unearthed for me recently, and I suddenly remembered, like, oh yeah, I had quite a fixation on that as a child. So if you recall, the story of the Ghost of the Sea, the episode in general, is we start with a flashback to how Commander Shaw ended up disabled. How what happened to him? What was the nature of his accident? And he gets his submarine gets blown up and he gets injured, and it's quite a grisly scene to see him laid out in a raft, wounded. And he's rescued by this mysterious figure dressed all in white with a sort of interesting little white cap on and stuff like that. A guy who looks sort of alien, but not quite alien. That's kind of interesting to me. And he, this guy, he gets saved. And so from then on, Commander Shaw refers to him as the Ghost of the Sea. And basically, it's to do with these oil rigs that are being set up, and the episode revolves around the fact that these oil rigs are getting set up again, and the Ghost of the Sea is going to appear again and start blowing up these oil rigs and stuff like that. And another kind of good scary moment from that episode is when the Troy and Marina go to investigate this abandoned submarine and it suddenly catches on fire. That's quite scary as well. But no, the thing that I remember most as kind of like the visceral, scary thing that lingered in my mind for a long time was the moment at the sort of climax of the episode when the ghost of the sea gets trapped. The lower half of his body is consumed by this giant clam.
Whoa.
And Troy has to figure out how to help this guy out. He, wants to, even though he's sort of maybe the villain of the piece, but we're not quite sure. Troy tries to save him and has to, in the end, shoot the constrictor muscles of the clam that enable him to get released. And as the ghost swims out of the clam and is freed, you see this sort of bloody mess at the end of his white gown. You see a little bit of red in there, and it's not lingered on for very long, but just a little bit to suggest that he's been wounded and crushed by this giant clam.
Sounds quite scary for a Stingray episode.
The way I'm describing it, I suppose, does make it sound scary, but it wouldn't be the first thing that people would think of as scary. But the reason why it lingered for me was because I, as a naive youngster, thought that if you went in the sea, if you went in the ocean, you would eventually encounter one of these giant man-eating clams.
Well, you might.
Don't say that. I can't remember what I came to, but I remember when I was reviewing this Stingray episode for the Security Hazard blog, I did some research to figure out whether man-eating clams really existed.
What did you find?
Do you see, this is it. I can't remember now, but
the ocean is deep and wide, Jack. There could be many things we don't know about.
I think that was it. I think it was the fact that, we don't know for sure. I think there are some big ones that certainly could consume a person, but whether they would be strong enough to grip onto you and crush your legs and stuff like that, I don't know. But to a 5 or 6 year old at the time, I was convinced that was something that could happen to you.
Wow. Well, I can't say that didn't occur to me watching that episode. In fact, I had forgotten there were giant clams in that episode. It's been so long since I've seen it. So
there's a lovely shot where Troy is swimming over the top of them, and you watch them slam shut as he's going along, and you think, these things are alive and they're gonna get you, and they do want you. And even to the point where I think another thing that adds a touch of seriousness to it is the fact that Commander Shaw says to Troy, take Marina out with you because she knows about marine life and therefore she'll be able to help you navigate around them, as if a regular person wouldn't be able to escape getting snapped up by one of these clams. You need to have your special undersea knowledge.
You'd be clamped. You would be clammed and clamped, and you'd be history.
Yeah.
That would be the end.
Yeah.
Horrifying. Terrifying.
I think it's one of these things. It is scary, but it's not on the nose about it. It's not sort of trying to be scary. But it's so matter of fact about it. It's just there are giant clams under the sea that can eat you. So I took that very seriously as a kid. That was something that could happen.
As you should.
And unless you had your own harpoon gun, you weren't going to get out of it.
There's sort of a meme going around that went around a few years ago about quicksand. And about what a danger we all thought quicksand was going to be based on TV. This is sort of
those kids,
This is your quicksand. It's like
I think so.
You saw this and you were like, oh, that's a real danger. Now, I have to know, as a child, were you visiting the seaside on your holidays? Were you
quite often? Yeah. My grandmother, who I again had the VHS tape of Edge of Impact, lived by the sea, so we were going to the sea quite often. Yes. And actually, talking of quicksand, I know this. I do have a memory of losing a shoe in quicksand.
In real quicksand.
Really, it was stuck. I mean, it was it was like mud, but
Oh man,
that did happen to me. So that's probably part of it as well.
Yeah.
Another person I think I know did get stung by a jellyfish at the same beach. So the sea is dangerous.
It is genuinely dangerous. So that adds an element of realism to this
exactly
this fantasy.
Yeah.
So when you waded out into the sea, were you like keeping an eye out for the giant clams?
Yes. Yeah. I think so. And any little seashells that you'd see on the beach, you'd look at and go, well, it's just a larger version of that, isn't it? So they're there. They can exist.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder if Bob Bell or whoever had to sculpt that clam had any idea that would have such a lasting impact on you.
I don't know.
Future generations will be terrified of clams.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is a good follow-up question. Have you eaten clams like since then? Do you eat like clam chowder or?
I have, Mike, because I have an American wife who introduced me to the wonders of clam chowder. And that sorted me right out. Clams are delicious. Clam chowder is amazing. So yeah, I got.
Have you ever had clamato juice? Do you know what this is?
I don't know what that is. No, I mean that sounds horrific.
It is horrific. It's you take like a tomato juice and you put a little bit of like essence of clam in it. You put a little clam juice in it with it. Yeah. And the idea is to like mix it in cocktails or Bloody Marys or whatever to give it like a little bit of salty seafoodiness.
A little bit of saltiness.
It's horrendous. It's horrendous. It's dreadful. Clamato. Avoid. But yeah, fascinating, strange labyrinth of clams that we've concocted.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you hearing my story and not just mocking me for it, because
no, I can't, because it's
I could picture it going that way.
That's the thing about childhood trauma. You never know where it's going to come from.
Exactly. That's it. It's unexpected. You really don't know.
It's like the pet that's scared of a mailbox. It's like, what sort of thing is going on in the mind of a child or the mind of a pet when it sees a mailbox? Could be anything.
Yeah, exactly that.
Right. Well, for my my ultimate.
This is your top pick.
My number one choice.
Number one. Yeah.
I also went with the Stingray episode, weirdly enough.
Ooh, interesting.
Something about Stingray, I guess because it's a more like kid-friendly show.
Yes.
And in general, it's very like light and colorful, especially compared to the black and white shows. Like Fireball, XL5, and Supercar have some very scary moments.
They do.
Where they lean into the creepiness of the puppets, where they use the black and white cinematography to be really scary. But yeah, Stingray, you don't expect it. You don't expect that kind of stuff from Stingray because it's so light and fluffy and bouncy. So when they do something scary, which isn't often, to be fair, it is genuinely quite upsetting.
Whenever they get their clams out.
When they get their clams out, all bets are off.
Yeah.
So I picked the episode Invisible Enemy because of the haunting sound, the long stares, the unblinking eyes of that puppet.
Yeah. Thompson is his name, I think.
Thompson is his name. Yeah, they find this guy out at sea, and he's just staring off into space blankly. And he's it turns out to be a plot to take over Marineville.
Yes.
But he hypnotizes people one by one, and it ends up hypnotizing everyone in the base. Like one by one, he gets them all. And just the leaning into the sort of like uncanniness of the puppets. They really use the puppets as a tool for horror.
Yeah.
Which they don't by the time you get to say like Captain Scarlet, or Thunderbirds, they really avoid doing that. They really
Right.
don't get into the
Unless they like specially, as we've talked about with like Thunderbird 6 or whatever, they'll sculpt a special head for it.
right, but it's not.
certainly as standard. They wouldn't go for it. No.
That's not intentional. I'm talking about like an intentional,
Okay.
leaning into the fact that these are dummies essentially,
I see. Yeah.
and sort of the horror that comes from the uncanny valley and the
Mhm.
creepy factor of puppets. They,
Yeah.
in the early shows, they use that to like help tell the stories a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely.
Do like scarier episodes, particularly in
Mhm.
Fireball XL5, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they do that probably for the last and best time in Invisible Enemy, and
Right.
boy, whew, it's quite frightening.
Yeah, it's interesting. Invisible Enemy's not an episode that I hold in really high regard. It's just because it's light on action.
Right.
But I appreciate that that's kind of the whole point. That's why it's scary, is because it has this more slow, lingering about it. So you go into a Stingray episode expecting lots of bombastic action and adventure and stuff like that, and instead you're presented with
You get a lifeless body
that.
floating with its eyes wide open in a lifeboat.
yeah. Gotta say that's yeah, I suppose it has that. I like the, anything with the watch, because that's how he hypnotizes people, isn't it? It's with the watch.
Mhm.
He pulls it out, and yeah, there's that sound effect. That
Again, a
noise.
sound effect really making a big difference in,
Yeah.
In the scariness of it.
Yeah, and the idea of Marineville being totally just a ghost town when it's normally so bustling and active is quite effective. Yeah, and
seeing
that
most of the main characters just like hypnotized, not themselves.
Yeah,
caught up in some alien menace. That's always
and then I remember like when Commander Shaw gets knocked out and he's left and his chair ends up, crashing into the wall and stuff. That's that's filmed very effectively from like a low angle and stuff, and the thing ends up like hitting the camera and stuff. That's quite striking. And then the only person who's left, who seems to be invincible to it, is Marina, but she can't explain what is happening to Troy and Phones who come in later. Which again is very effective. That again coming back to that fear of not being understood, not being heard. Maybe that's a factor in it. Yeah, interesting choice. I don't know. I mean, as you said, it's different for different people, I suppose. But yeah,
it
it's
is.
not what
Yeah,
I
I
really
was
thought of.
never would have thought of the Ghost of the Sea as one of the scariest moments from the Anderson canon, but I didn't grow up near the sea, and I don't have an unusual fear of clams. So there you go.
Well, I suppose so. You don't know of anyone yourself who got washed out to sea and came back different, maybe? Anyone like that in your childhood come along? You knew about?
Not that I can recall, but maybe I've repressed it. Maybe
Well, how would you know?
This is sort of a therapy session for me, Jack. We've uncovered my deepest, darkest fears, and now
we've uncovered them, but we're not going to do anything about it. Though I'm not qualified.
Now
to do that, I'm afraid.
Now it's time for the show to end, and I'm just going to be left alone with all the terrors of the night.
Well, not
thanks
quite,
for that.
Because we need to. I can't find my. Oh, there it is. I dropped my phone on the floor. We need to go through some of our viewers and listeners. Scariest moments.
All of you
had
all sorts of terrifying moments, and I can't wait.
They really did. There were lots of good kind of a nice variety of things. Some of which we mentioned, some of which we haven't. So I'm going to get straight into it with Nick Thorne. Nick says the Hood and Captain Black were always the scariest to me. Terrorhawks was not the least bit scary to me at all. We haven't mentioned Terrorhawks at all.
No, which is funny.
Maybe there's a reason for that.
There is a lot of scary stuff in Terrorhawks. probably unfairly overlooked by this list.
Yeah.
For
Well,
sure.
we will get back to it actually in a moment, but
Ooh.
yeah, Nick continues. I do often wonder to myself how things would turn out if the Hood was to encounter Captain Black, as in would they join forces or would the Hood be killed straight off? I mean, come on,
can
then.
you imagine?
Battle between these two, the Hood and Captain Black. Who's winning in that?
Oh, and can you imagine the Hood and the power of the Mysterons? What they could do with his
Ooh.
powers of hypnosis?
Oh, and you know that it would be the glowing eyes, but they would glow green. wouldn't they?
Oh,
Of course they would.
oh,
They
oh.
changed the light bulbs inside the puppet so that they were green. You know that's what would happen. That's exactly what they would have done. Yeah, no, good stuff. Mark Simpson Wedge says, mine is in part of Barry Gray's Mysteron music. It always scared me when I was a kid. In the Captain Scarlet soundtrack, you hear it in The Power of the Mysterons at 52 seconds. And I actually went and listened to this, and I'm gonna recreate it for you. And I'm sorry, Mark, if you're listening, if this is gonna scare you, but it's the moment where it goes. It's like suddenly gets really intense. Apparently, that was the moment that really scared Mark. Was that good?
That was an operatic rendition.
I bet it was scary.
Yeah, I felt the arm hairs rising. It was terrifying.
All right. Lee Homer says Space 1999 had the scary stuff. We're talking Dragon's Domain and the Troubled Spirit here. I had the latter episode on VHS and I refused to watch it as a kid as it scared me. I can relate to that story. Yeah,
and that is a very. We didn't talk about that one. Did we talk about Dragon's Domain? Not really.
We didn't mention Dragon's Domain. Obviously, we did do an episode on it a little while ago where we reviewed the whole episode and we sort of debated how scary it was.
But the Troubled Spirit is another scary one. That's
yeah.
We didn't mention that, but very haunting. Some spooky moments.
Spooky
for sure.
Stuff. Yeah, love it. And then Piers Francis Riordan, very sorry about that. Dragons. Hi, Piers. Dragon's Domain from Space 1999 has my vote. Something especially unnerving about a monster lost deep in space, which would be revisited later in the film Alien.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of crossover there.
Exactly. We have a few more. Penguin Made of Dynamite says, all the Hood Carano moments in Thunderbirds were deeply unsettling for me as a kid. I had to leave the room when they were on. Just like me.
Yeah.
Still find them uncomfortable to watch even now. Also, the scenes with the Hood and Williams in Cry Wolf, they are incredibly intense viewing. Outside of his moments of bumbling, the Hood could be a genuinely terrifying villain.
Probably the scariest moment in Thunderbirds there.
Could be. Possibly, yeah, could be. Penguin Made of Dynamite also gives an honorable mention to the Mysteron Control Captain Scarlet. So we're talking about like Captain Scarlet as he was in the first episode. His cold silence is incredibly creepy, and that pained puppet face when he gets shot is the stuff of nightmares. Yes, that is also quite scary. Yeah, there's something about when he's goes completely quiet and the Spectrum are trying to make contact with him and he's got the world president next to him and all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty scary. Rick VG02 says the sequence of Big Ben Strikes Again with Mason in the empty parking garage gave me the chills first time I saw it. Yep, Big Ben Strikes Again, that's another good scary moment, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Very well called out. Adam Luff, friend of the show, says, as Ben brought up my thoughts on Scary Terrorhawks in episode 25, back when we were talking about Expect the Unexpected, he says, I'll tell you the scariest Terrorhawks moment another time. But for now... No.
Spoilers.
Bit of scary misdirection there. But for now, I'll say Kill Straker has an intense opening. The rage in Paul Foster's eyes as he cries out, Kill Straker! Then cutting to the UFO titles. That moment had me sit up and pay attention for the rest of the episode. Yep.
Nice.
That's definitely a good one. Crazy Jedi 5994 says, if I remember correctly, the opening scene from Hostages of the Deep unsettled me to the point of making sure to miss out that episode the next time I watched my Stingray Volume 1 video. Yeah, that's one I hadn't thought of.
I had forgotten about this moment until
Yeah.
I saw that comment.
So it's
And,
the moment when the alien comes up to the window, I think, and it's kind of shrouded behind the blinds and you can't quite see it. And the Admiral's wife, Millie, says, "Henry, there's someone at the window."
That's perfect.
Now, Millie, calm down. Well,
that's great. You should do voices, Jack. You should be a voice actor.
We've talked about this many times on this podcast. Between you and me, I think we could probably do the entire repertoire of Super Mario Nation characters.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so.
We're basically David Graham and Ray Barrett, although you have to figure out which one is which.
Yes. Emily Davis says, when Captain Black got killed in New Captain Scarlet in the first episode with the Mysterons. Yes. Yeah, interesting. I mean, the part where he's punching his way out of the grave in New Captain Scarlet, and that's how he awakens. Yeah, that's pretty... That's
Proper
pretty
scary,
spooky stuff. That really is. A couple more here. We had heard from Harry Doberman, says, nothing in Century 21 scared me, but that tracking shot of Kudos's ancestors in the Fireball XL5 episode Last of the Xanadu suggests someone, possibly Keith Wilson, had been to see House of Usher on his Sunday off. That opening moment from... You mentioned how like Fireball XL5 leans into some of the scariness of the puppets, and I definitely think that guy from Last of the Xanadu is one of those puppets.
With his strange eyes.
Strange eyes. I mean, a great voice as well. I think that's a David Graham special, that voice.
Kudos! Kudos!
Exactly. And then finally, Simpsons Clips 24 says, back in 2007, GMTV's Action Station slot reran New Captain Scarlet. I was around 6 years old at the time and would often watch Action Stations while waiting for Wakey Wakey, the preschool slot, to come on. The episode Reign of Terror burned itself right into my memory due to the nightmarishly freaky imagery and sound design in the part of the episode where Professor Todd experiences hallucinations and then meets her demise. Not really what you need when you've just woken up at stupid o'clock in the morning. And I had forgotten about this. I forgot that, New Captain Scarlet was rerun at 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Very early, very, very early in the morning. I had kind of forgotten about that, but I do remember catching those repeats. Where they would show the episodes at 6 a.m. And yes, I had
forgotten about Reign of Terror. That is a scary concept of like taking something like ordinary like the rain and putting a scary horror movie twist on it.
Yeah.
One of the clever things they did.
Terrifying faces that come out, and there's like lots of people with skulls, just like this one that's next to me. Actually, would turn up, and isn't there a shot where like the missiles loading into the Angel Interceptors look like sharks or something, and they've got teeth? Yeah, that's a pretty spooky one. Simpsons Clips did also add that Dr. Agon from Lavender Castle scared him as a 9-year-old as well, calling him quite an unsavory name that I won't repeat on the podcast. But
fair enough.
Yeah. So there we go. That was all of our scary moments and all of your scary moments. Thank you so much for sharing them all with us. We certainly went through quite a variety there and quite an experience of all sorts of different terrifying moments. Ben, how are you gonna sleep tonight?
I don't think I'll ever sleep again, Jack.
Never sleep again.
I think I'll be up for the rest of my natural life.
Oh, he's ever so good, isn't he? He's ever so good.
Jack, tell us about the security hazard show.
Oh, yes. You're like, please wrap up the podcast so I don't have to keep up this scary act anymore. Yes, of course. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for listening and tuning into the Security Hazard Show. We broadcast live every single Wednesday at 6 p.m. UK time on youtube.com/Jack Noel. Subscribe to us on YouTube to watch and listen to the show in real time. And you can comment along with us. And just like today, lots of people have been leaving their scary moments in the chat as well. So we really appreciate that. But of course, you can also listen to us on podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and places like that. Please rate and review us there to help us climb up those charts. But then, if people want to help us out somehow, I couldn't make that scary.
For even more frightening moments, go to patreon.com/securityhazard, where you can find all sorts of frightful goodness.
Bonus features.
Bonus features. New other extra videos. Special content that will never see the light of day. Unless you are a member. Like someone we have to give a shout out to, David Shetliff, our very first top tier member. Thank you, David, for your support. We really do appreciate it. We couldn't do the show without our Patreon supporters. So please do support us on there. Help us keep this going. The way to do that is patreon.com/securityhazard.
Lovely stuff. And then for everything else, head over to securityhazard.net. That's your one-stop shop for blog posts, reviews, videos, podcasts about all things Gerry Anderson. You can also find links to all my social media there, of course. Facebook, X, Blue Sky, all of that stuff. Head over to securityhazard.net. You'll find it there. Ben, what about you? If people dare, where can they find you on the internet? I mean, the internet's a scary enough place by itself anyway, but if they want to make it even more frightening and they want to come looking for you, where can they do that?
benwolf.page is my website. Woo! And from there, all my social media links. Woo! Was that scary enough?
That was terrific. That was great. Lovely stuff. Yes, but you should definitely go and head along to benwolf.page and see what Ben's getting up to as well.
Please do.
Everybody, that was today's show. Thank you all very, very much for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Bye for now.
Farewell.